I sat in my car in the office parking lot, holding the cardboard box with 30 years of my life inside it. My nameplate, my coffee mug, a wilted plant. At 63, I'd just been fired and replaced by someone half my age who'd work for half my salary. I cried so hard I couldn't see. But then I looked at that box and thought, what if this isn't the end? What if this is the beginning? That thought changed everything. My name is Janet Morrison, and I'm 65 years old. What I'm about to tell you is the story of how losing everything led me to gain more than I ever imagined. If you're watching this, please like and subscribe, and tell me in the comments where you're listening from. This message needs to reach every woman who thinks it's too late to start over. Let me take you back to that terrible Friday afternoon. I'd worked at Morrison Marketing Solutions for 30 years, starting as a secretary when I was 33, fresh from a divorce, with 2 kids to support. Over 3 decades, I'd worked my way up to office manager, handling everything from payroll to client relations. I knew that company inside and out. But the new CEO, a 40-year-old named Derek Chin, had different ideas. He wanted to modernize the company, which apparently meant getting rid of anyone over 55. They couldn't legally say that, of course. Instead, they called it restructuring and bringing in fresh perspectives. When Derek called me into his office that Friday, I knew something was wrong. His assistant wouldn't meet my eyes. The HR director was already sitting in the corner with a folder. "Janet," Derek said, not even offering me a seat, "we appreciate your years of service, but we're moving in a new direction. We're letting you go, effective immediately. Shannon from HR will explain your severance package." Just like that. 30 years reduced to 3 sentences. But why? I managed to ask. My performance reviews have always been excellent. I just landed the Martinson account last month. "It's not about performance," he said, finally looking uncomfortable. "It's about the future of the company. We need people who understand social media, digital marketing, newer technologies. I can learn those things. I've been taking online courses." "Janet, at your age, it's time to think about retirement anyway. Enjoy your golden years." At my age, those words hit me like a slap. At 63, I was being told I was too old to be useful, too old to learn, too old to contribute. The severance package was insulting. 2 weeks' pay for every year of service, which came out to about $45,000 before taxes. After 3 decades of loyalty, that's what my time was worth. I packed my desk in a daze. Coworkers I'd known for years avoided eye contact. Some whispered sympathetically, but no one stood up for me. They were too afraid of losing their own jobs. That's when I found myself sitting in my car with that pathetic cardboard box, crying so hard my chest hurt. I was 63 years old with $7,000 in savings, a mortgage payment, and absolutely no idea what to do next. I called my daughter Vanessa, hoping for comfort. Instead, she said, "Mom, maybe this is a sign. You've been working so hard for so long. Move in with Marcus and me. We have that extra room. You can help with the kids, and you won't have to worry about money." Her offer was kind, but the thought of becoming dependent on my daughter at 63 felt like giving up on life itself. I'd spent 30 years being self-sufficient, raising my kids alone after their father left. I wasn't ready to become someone's burden. "Let me think about it," I told her, though I already knew my answer would be no. That weekend was the darkest of my life. I barely ate, barely slept. I kept replaying Derek's words, "At your age, it's time to think about retirement," as if 63 meant I was useless, finished, ready to be put out to pasture. But on Sunday night, something shifted. I was looking through that cardboard box from my desk, and I found a notebook I'd kept for years. In it were all my ideas for improving the company, ideas that had been ignored or dismissed. Better client retention strategies. More personalized marketing approaches. Ways to make campaigns more authentic and less corporate. I'd spent 30 years watching my suggestions get credited to younger employees or simply overlooked. I'd watched the company make mistakes I'd warned against. I'd seen opportunities slip away because no one listened to the old lady in the office. And suddenly I got angry. Not sad, not defeated, but furious. If Henderson Marketing didn't want my experience and ideas, maybe their competitors would. Or better yet, maybe their clients would. At 63 years old, with barely any savings and no job prospects, I decided to start my own marketing consulting business. Everyone thought I was crazy. Vanessa was horrified. "Mom, you can't start a business at your age. What if it fails? What if you lose everything?" "I've already lost everything," I replied. "Now I have nothing left to lose." My son Marcus was more supportive but concerned. "Mom, do you even know how to run a business? The permits, the taxes, the insurance." "No," I admitted. "But I know marketing and I can learn the rest." I used $5,000 of my savings to set up a basic LLC, create a simple website, and print business cards. My company was called Morrison Marketing Solutions. I worked from my dining room table, which I turned into my office. The first month was brutal. I reached out to every contact I'd made in 30 years. Most didn't respond. Some were sympathetic, but said they were loyal to Henderson. A few were honest. They didn't think a 63-year-old woman working from home could compete with established firms. I was running out of money fast. My severance was disappearing into bills and business expenses. I had maybe 3 months before I'd be completely broke and have to accept Vanessa's offer to move in. Then something unexpected happened. I got a call from Patricia Chen, the owner of a small boutique clothing store I'd known for years through Henderson. Patricia had always been kind to me. "Janet," she said, "I heard what happened at Henderson. I also heard you started your own business. I'm not happy with how Henderson has been handling my account. Would you be interested in taking it over?" My first client. It was a small account, just $2,000 a month, but it was hope. I poured everything I had into Patricia's campaign. I spent hours understanding her business, her customers, her vision. Unlike the young marketers at Henderson who sent generic templates and barely personalized content, I created something unique for her. Within 2 months, Patricia's sales increased by 40%. She was thrilled and told everyone she knew about the amazing marketing consultant who actually cares. That's when things started to change. Patricia's friends, other small business owners, started calling me. They were tired of expensive marketing firms that treated them like numbers. They wanted someone who would listen, who understood their needs, who had the experience to deliver real results. By month 6, I had 12 clients and was making more money than I'd made at Henderson. But I was working 70-hour weeks from my dining room table, and I was exhausted. That's when I made a bold decision. I rented a small office space and hired my first employee, a young woman named Lisa, who just graduated from college with a marketing degree but couldn't find a job because she lacked experience. "Lisa," I told her during the interview, "I'll teach you everything I know about marketing. In return, you'll teach me everything you know about social media and digital platforms. Deal?" She was thrilled. Finally, someone who saw her potential instead of her lack of experience. Together, we made an incredible team. I had the wisdom and client relationships. She had the technical skills and fresh perspectives. Within a year, we had 30 clients and I had to hire 3 more employees. I deliberately hired a mix of ages, young people who brought innovation and older workers who'd been pushed out of other companies like I had been. The business kept growing. By the end of year 2, Morrison Marketing Solutions had 50 clients, 12 employees, and annual revenue of $1.2 million. I was officially a millionaire at 65 years old. But the money wasn't even the best part. The best part was proving everyone wrong. I'll never forget the day Derek Chen called me. It had been 2 years since he'd fired me, and Henderson Marketing was struggling. They'd lost several major clients, and their reputation had taken a hit because of impersonal service and high turnover. "Janet," he said, his voice humble in a way it never had been before, "I'm calling to see if you'd consider coming back. We realize now that we made a mistake." "Derek," I interrupted, "let me stop you right there. 2 years ago, you told me I was too old, that it was time for my golden years. You threw away 30 years of my loyalty like garbage. Now I run a $1 million company with employees who respect me and clients who value my experience. Why would I ever come back?" The silence on the other end was satisfying. However, I continued, if Henderson Marketing would like to hire Morrison Marketing Solutions for consulting services, our rates start at $15,000 per month. Let me know if you're interested. He never called back, but the story spread through the industry. The woman who'd been fired at 63 was now running circles around the company that had dismissed her. My success attracted attention. Local news did a story about me. Business magazines interviewed me. I started getting invited to speak at entrepreneurship conferences about starting over later in life. The most meaningful moment came when an older woman approached me after one of my talks. She was probably 60, with tears in her eyes. I was fired last month, she said. I've been so depressed, feeling like my life is over. But hearing your story, I realized maybe it's not an ending. Maybe it's a beginning. I hugged her and said, it's definitely a beginning. Don't let anyone tell you that your experience doesn't matter. It matters more than ever. That encounter inspired me to start a program within my company. We now offer free business consulting to women over 50 who want to start their own businesses. We help with business plans, marketing strategies, and navigating the technical aspects of entrepreneurship. In the past year, we've helped 47 women start their own businesses. Some are small, one-person operations. Others have grown into significant companies. But every single one represents a woman who refused to accept that her productive life was over just because society said so. Vanessa apologized to me about 6 months after I started the business. Mom, I was wrong to doubt you. I was trying to protect you, but I was really just limiting you. You've taught me that age doesn't define capability. Marcus started telling everyone about his millionaire mom who started a business at 63. At first, it embarrassed me, but then I realized how important it was. Young people need to see that success can come at any age. And older people need to know it's never too late to reinvent yourself. The biggest surprise came when I reconnected with some of my old coworkers from Henderson. 3 of them had also been let go in subsequent rounds of restructuring. All of them were over 55, all replaced by younger, cheaper workers. I hired 2 of them. They brought their decades of experience to Morrison Marketing, and our company became even stronger. We understood something that Derek Chin never did. Experience isn't a liability. It's an asset. Today, Morrison Marketing Solutions has 75 employees, annual revenue of $3.5 million, and a waiting list of clients. We specialize in personalized, relationship-based marketing that values authenticity over trends. Our secret weapon? A diverse team that spans ages from 22 to 71, because we believe innovation comes from combining fresh perspectives with seasoned wisdom. I'm 65 years old now, and I've never been happier or more fulfilled. I make more money than I ever thought possible. I have the respect of my peers and the admiration of younger entrepreneurs who see me as proof that it's never too late. But more importantly, I have purpose. Every day, I wake up excited to work. I'm building something meaningful, employing people who were told they were too young or too old, and proving that age is just a number when it comes to success. The dining room table where I started my business is still in my home, but now it's surrounded by photos of my employees, thank you cards from clients, and awards we've won. That wilted plant from my cardboard box. I replanted it, and it's thriving in my office, a reminder that even things that seem dead can bloom again with the right care. Last month, I was invited to speak at Henderson Marketing's annual conference. Derek Shen had been replaced as CEO, and the new leadership wanted to repair relationships with former employees. I almost declined, but then I thought about that woman at my talk who'd been fired and was ready to give up. I accepted the invitation. Standing on that stage, looking at the same people who'd watched me get fired 2 years earlier, I didn't feel anger. I felt gratitude. If Derek hadn't fired me, I never would have discovered what I was capable of. I would have stayed comfortable and safe, never knowing I had the strength to build something of my own. Being fired at 63 was the worst day of my life, I told the audience. It was also the best day of my life, because it forced me to bet on myself. Society tells us that after 60, we should slow down, step aside, make room for younger people. But I'm here to tell you that some of us are just getting started. The standing ovation felt like vindication, but more than that, it felt like hope. Hope that maybe we're starting to recognize that experience matters, that age brings value, that the best ideas come from diverse teams that include both youth and wisdom. After my speech, dozens of people approached me. Some were older workers afraid of being pushed out. Some were younger workers who wanted to learn from someone with real experience. But they all had the same question. How did you find the courage to start over? My answer is always the same. I didn't find courage. I found anger, then desperation, then determination. Courage came later, after I realized I could actually do this. Starting a business at 63 wasn't easy. There were moments I wanted to quit, nights I cried from exhaustion, times I questioned every decision. But every challenge taught me something, and every setback made me stronger. The truth is, being fired was a gift. It freed me from a company that didn't value me and pushed me toward a future I never would have chosen on my own. Sometimes the universe closes a door not to punish you, but to force you through a better one. If you're watching this and you've been pushed out, pushed aside, or told you're too old to matter, I want you to hear this. You are not too old. You are not finished. You are not past your prime. You are exactly the right age to start the next chapter of your life. Your experience is valuable. Your knowledge matters. Your perspective is needed. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. And if you're younger, watching this and thinking it doesn't apply to you, remember, you'll be 60 someday too. The way we treat older workers now will determine how you're treated later. Fight for a world that values people at every age. 2 years ago, I was sitting in a parking lot with a cardboard box, thinking my life was over. Today, I'm running $1 million company and employing 75 people who were told they weren't good enough. We've proven that the best revenge isn't anger. It's success. Age is just a number. Experience is power. And it's never, ever too late to build the life you deserve. Did you like my story? Tell me in the comments where you're listening from and whether you've ever been told you're too old for something. If this story inspired you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more stories about women who refuse to give up. And if you want to support me in sharing these messages of hope, you can send a super thanks. Remember, sometimes losing everything is the first step to gaining everything. See you in the next story.